We've got a spectacular Saturday afternoon in Charlottesville, Virginia for our final ACC Spring Football Saturday. We have come to Scott Stadium in the middle of the grounds at the University of Virginia for the blue and white game and the debut of new head coach Tony Elliott. You see Brennan Armstrong, Dontavian Wicks making their way into the stadium. Both young and old have also competed here on the field before the ball game as well. And right here, this little move here by this gentleman is eerily similar to my partner, Roddy Jones. We welcome you upstairs. Wes Durham with you. Kelsey Riggs will join us in just a moment. You can feel the excitement of Tony Elliott's arrival in this new era of Virginia football here.
Yeah, you certainly can. Look, Bronco Mendenhall laid an incredible foundation for what Tony Elliott is inheriting. But Tony Elliott's been a long time at Clemson and was very particular. Everybody every year was wondering which job would he pick. Well, he picked this one, and for good reason. It fits what exactly he wants to do, and you can feel the buzz around what the superstar from Clemson's going to bring.
Well, and he's put a great staff together. We'll talk about them through the course of the day. He's got a great quarterback returning in Brennan Armstrong, and now Tony Elliott's with Kelsey Riggs.
Coach Elliott, you've talked a lot about the lead up to this moment right now, all the behind-the-scenes things that you've had to do, and now you're going to get to see this team in Scott Stadium for the first time. What does this moment mean to you?
You know, it's actually probably the first moment where it really sank in that I'm actually the head coach. Because I'll actually be on the grass, I'll be watching. It's actually really a blessing, humbling, and I'm excited for these guys. That's why you coach ball. It's all about the players. Man, they look good. They're in uniform. They're excited. They're ready to compete. So we got a good turnout. We implemented the Wahoo Walk. Everybody showed up. Man, how cool is this?
I know a lot of times we say it's just a spring game, but when it's your first one here, I know it means a little more, and it means more to your guys as well. What do you want to see them get out of today?
You know, I told them, I said, this is our first chance for the world to see New Virginia and what we're all about. And I reminded what our core values are. Humility, effort, accountability, respect, and toughness, and non-negotiables, effort, focus, intensity, toughness. Those are the things that I want them to see. I know that the teams are split up, and there's going to be a little bit of chemistry issues early on, but I'm looking for the core values to be on display. I want people to walk away and say, you know what, I can't really describe it, but there's something different about this Virginia football team, and I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do when the season actually comes around.
Coach Elliott, we're looking forward to it as well. Thanks. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Tony Elliott with Kelsey Riggs. Brendan Farrell will kick it away. This is Devin Chandler right around the goal line on the return. And Chandler will reach about the 21 or 22-yard line. Well, we mentioned Tony Elliott coming here in early December. Roddy, you get here right before early signing day, and some will say his biggest recruit is one that's coming back at Virginia, and that's Brennan Armstrong at quarterback.
I mean, look, Brennan Armstrong was as good as there was in the league at this position a year ago. If you think back to late October, there was a big conversation about who the player of the year was going to be. Brennan Armstrong was firmly in that competition and had a little bit of an injury, missed some time, but the toughness, the arm strength, the mobility that he brings should have Virginia fans excited.
He's got Mike Hollins in the backfield with him here, and we'll kind of go through how the white and blue team are going to work here today. And Hollins picks up right about 5 on first down before he got knocked down in the middle of that unit. Defensively, Stevie Bracey, a true freshman from the Lovett School in Atlanta. You also see and here's Armstrong on 2nd and 5, going to make the long throw to the far side, and that is Lavelle Davis, who is returning to the lineup. Roddy, remember he missed all of a year ago with the torn ACL.
Well, he was a guy that everyone was excited about seeing after having a great freshman year a couple of years ago. Missed all of last year, as you said, with the ACL. You see that brace still on the knee, but at 6'7", 225, 230 pounds, physically imposing presence. And you put him on one side and Dontavian Wicks on the other, and you got quite the tandem.
So now 3rd down and 5 for Virginia, who a year ago hit almost 46% on 3rd down, and that ball thrown toward Tennyson. And it was broken up on the play by Donovan Johnson. So a 3 and out for Armstrong in the offense.
Yeah, and I think that, look, you're not going to judge what's going on a play-in, play-out basis because, as Coach said, the teams are split up. That was a good play by Donovan Johnson. Sat on the out-breaking route. Was able to force the incompletion.
And it's Brendan Farrell to punt, and he will to Ethan Davies. Now, Farrell is about one of 2 healthy guys from a kicking and punting perspective. You're going to see a lot of Brendan Farrell doing all the disciplines today, I think, from a punting and kickoff perspective. And then from a field goal perspective, you're going to see young first-year freshman Finley Underwood from Martinsville. Here's a pretty good-looking punt from Farrell. And Davies will field it on the fly at the 25. And work back across toward the 33, and that's where the 48-yard punt is returned to. And Mike Green on the tackle, and let's see what we get for the blue. And when I say the blue, that means you're going to see
Brennan
Armstrong again. Because there is Brennan Armstrong's going to quarterback both teams, but we're only going to see Armstrong, Roddy, for virtually a first half.
Yeah, and in this spring game with a guy like Brennan Armstrong, you're looking to get a certain number of snaps. You want him to work with all the receivers in the stadium, kind of get that feel of game day.
And sophomore Ahmad Foston's in the backfield with him. Armstrong wants to take the shot to the far side, and the catch is made, and the grab made by Grant Mish, the tight end. Across midfield or to the 50 goes Mish. 16-yard throw from Armstrong to his tight end Mish, who had 4 catches a season ago.
Yeah, and Mish was on the outside of that trip set to the top. Just ran a little curl route, was able to make that catch. He's a good receiving threat for them at tight end. Only 4 catches a year ago because he was playing behind Jelani Woods, who was fantastic.
Yep.
But Grant Mish, very capable.
Here's Armstrong again, first into full 10 after the first down throw, and that's Mish again, wide open middle of the field, and he'll be taken down at the white 23-yard line. So back-to-back throws to Mish, and the tackle made by Cohen King in the secondary. That throw 27 yards.
And if you were to clip off a play and say, all right, what is Brennan Armstrong? That was it. Saw the mobility to scramble out to his right, kept his shoulders square, slung it across the middle. It's a quintessential Brennan Armstrong play.
And Foston runs right in to Ogunlunve, the defensive end, the sophomore from Lindenburg, New Jersey.
This is a defense a year ago that really struggled against the run, and you're getting a look at a lot of guys who project to be first team. Found Muiz out there on the defensive line, Chico Bennett as well.
Yep, play fake Armstrong. Here's where he was really effective last year, and a throw back across his body to Dontavian Wicks will put him down inside the 10 toward the 8-yard line. So Brennan Armstrong's thrown it 3 for 3 on the drive. They've run it a play or two with Foston, and now all of a sudden, first and goal for the blue team. We welcome you to Charlottesville and Scott Stadium. Those of you who have just wrapped up softball in Tallahassee with Florida State beating Clemson 6-0 with Roddy Jones, Kelsey Riggs, Wes Durham. Brennan Armstrong quarterbacks both the white and the blue team here. The white squad went 3 and out on the first possession of the game, and Armstrong's gone 3 for 3 on this drive, and it's second and goal inside the right at the 8-yard line here for the blue team on their opening drive. And Armstrong going to loop to the end zone and overthrow Malachi Fields, incomplete. Cohen King was covering defensively for the white team. So Tony Elliott, the former Clemson assistant, offensive coordinator, 11 years at Tiger Town, is now the first-year head coach here at UVA.
He is, and we were down on the field pregame, seeing the festivities. There's a buzz around this Virginia program. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Tony Elliott was patient for so long at Clemson, and he finally chose a place where he wanted to be a head coach, and it was Virginia. That has to make you feel pretty special.
Here's a third and goal for Armstrong. Now we'll whip it to the end zone, and a hand got in there on the way to Malachi Fields. Was the intended receiver. Did somebody in a white jersey get a hand on that,
I think
Ron?
it was Cohen King that got it. The nickel, number 9, was able to come across and just get a finger on it. But if you're looking for some excitement around this Virginia team, this was kind of the first team offense. Yeah, you saw Cohen King just get that hand on it. This was kind of first team offense, first team defense, and Brennan Armstrong was very efficient on that drive.
Brendan Farrell's going to try a 26-yard field goal. He hit a 43-yarder against Miami a season ago. And Farrell will push it through on the kick. Well, Brennan Armstrong's tried his hand with the blue squad, a little more successful than the sequence with the white team, Roddy.
Well, those are the guys that he's been around with more. We saw the chemistry with Grant Mish on that drive. We saw him trying to go to Malachi Fields, who the coaches raved about when we talked to him earlier this week. It's been quite the spring, as we've heard from Brennan Armstrong, and he's just trying to build on some of the records he set last year. Look at those numbers. I mean, 4,400 passing yards. That's missing a game as well, and playing one with some bum ribs, playing a couple with some bum ribs. But it rewrote the Virginia record books. Now, look, he may not put up the same numbers this year as he did last year. I think they're going to be a little bit more balanced. This was a team that ran the ball the fewest times per game in the ACC last year. I think they'll run the ball a little bit more, which may take away from Brennan Armstrong's numbers. But the efficiency that you get from him is going to be the key, and he's still going to put up some pretty solid numbers, if I had to guess.
Roddy, here's the other piece about it. If you're a Virginia fan, you don't want to see those numbers like that. If you do, that means you're not running the ball. You're reliant upon Armstrong's exclusivity, and that may not be exactly what Tony Elliott needs in year one.
Right, and this was an offense that was really good a year ago, not to say that it wasn't, but I think if they are a little bit more balanced, then you can take some of that stuff off of Brennan Armstrong's plate. A lot of the offense last year was predicated on, all right, Brennan's going to make a play or Brennan's going to make it happen distributing the football.
Nice move by Starling will push it beyond the 20 to the 22, and that's where the second possession for the Blue will begin, or rather the White will begin. Don't forget, All Access premieres Monday night, 7 o'clock, the ACC Life. You'll visit with the Florida State softball team, the first-year women's lacrosse team at Pittsburgh, and the Duke track and field squad. Unprecedented access into the lives of student-athletes, coaches, staff, parents, and fans. It's All Access on ACC Network Monday night, 7 o'clock. From the 22, Armstrong, who was 3 for 5 a series ago for the Blue, loads up and shoots it to Hollins in a gain of about 8 on first down.
So running backs can't catch.
Mike Hollins, they've kind of been waiting on the junior from Baton Rouge, haven't they?
They have, yeah. For a couple seasons, you're kind of waiting on him to break out. And when we talked to the coaches, they said, look, over the course of this spring, Mike Hollins is one of the most improved players. He's gotten a heavy workload due to some due to a thin position group and some injuries at running back, but he's had a nice spring.
And here is Hollins again in the backfield, and there's trouble afoot. Deshaun Perry, the linebacker from Gulliver Prep in Miami, makes the stop. Now, this offensive line for Tony Elliott is complete work in motion. There are only seven healthy bodies here today, Roddy, for him to choose from on offense.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about guys like Derek Devine out, Logan Taylor out, Zachary Teeter out, Colby McGee out. And this is from an offensive line group that had a few guys, 3 guys that were going to be contributors. 2 were certain starters transfer out. So a little bit thin on the offensive line right now.
Here is Armstrong, kind of looping it over the top and dropped by Tennyson. Looked like Dylan Tennyson, who's listed at 5'9" from Chesterfield, Virginia, outside of Richmond, had a chance to make a play there.
Just couldn't quite track it. Those plays are so hard for a receiver because you go from the ball being over one shoulder, fading, having to track the ball over the other shoulder. But you know what they say, Wes, you got to make that play.
Got to make that play.
Make that play.
So here's Farrell back to punt, and Ethan Davies to wait. Kind of been a tale of 2 teams for Armstrong, hasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
3 and out for the White. And ended up with a 7-play field goal drive in the first possession with the Blue. Here's a wobbly kick toward Davies, and he will field it, touch a knee at the 38, and we step aside. Almost 5 minutes in this first quarter of the Virginia Blue-White game. And a field goal for the Blue, who has the ball in a moment. With Roddy Jones, Wes Durham, Kelsey Riggs alongside as well. 3-0 Blue leading the White. Brennan Armstrong is quarterbacking for both teams here. We're going to see Jared Raymond, Davis Lane as well here this afternoon from the quarterback perspective. And he's got Ahmad Foston with him in the backfield here as he takes the second possession for this Blue squad. And there's Foston on first down. Now, by the way, some of the offensive linemen we were talking about that were with the White, they have flipped over now to join the Blue, just like Armstrong. There are, Roddy, we've counted up about 16 guys that are going to play both ways today, and it could change and go up as the game wears on here today.
Yeah, it's the flexibility of a spring game. Everybody's down on numbers. They've got to fill out this roster before the fall, but the name of the game is being nimble.
Yep. There's Keaton Thompson on the perimeter. First catch for the now wide receiver. And it sounded like, as you see Thompson stopped after a gain of about 6. Roddy, it sounds like Keaton Thompson, who was a football player in the Bronco Mendenhall administration, is a wide receiver in Tony Elliott's world.
He is. And look, if we're being real, that's what he was last year as well. They just moved him around a lot as a tool. But he's been a guy that Tony Elliott has really challenged to step up from a leadership perspective.
This is 3rd down for Armstrong. Third down, Armstrong, and that'll be called a sack. Nick Jackson, who's one of the ACC's premier guys in pass rush, was back there. He had 117 tackles a year ago, and he found his way to number 5. Lost to 10.
Nick Jackson, one of those guys that should be a household name in the ACC by now. He's done it for a number of years. She said 117 tackles a year ago. That coming a year after he had 105 in 2020. Is an excellent player at the linebacker position. Great range, good blitzer.
Long line of Virginia linebackers from Atlanta. I mean, a long line. Here is Farrell to punt it away. And making the running catch is Starling at the 30. And Starling will step out of bounds up around the 45. Kelsey Riggs has found the director of athletics in Virginia. Here's Carla Williams.
Yeah, guys, that's right. I'm here with Carla Williams. And Carla, what an incredible opportunity now to get to see this football field under Tony Elliott. What's your big takeaway so far?
A lot of energy. You know, ever since we hired Tony in December, he's brought a lot of energy, and it kept going today. I mean, we brought back the Wahoo Walk, where the players walk into the stadium. He led the team in. It was awesome, the interaction with the fans. So there's a lot of excitement.
Yeah, Roddy and I were down here pregame saying, man, it does not feel like a spring game. These guys are fired up like they're ready to play a real game.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't outside the stadium either. So all around grounds today, was a lot going on. So it felt more like a regular season game, but a lot of excitement. The players are really pumped. They've been very energetic in practice all spring, and so it's good for them to be able to get out here and hit a little bit, but we're looking forward to fall camp.
And speaking of a lot going on, not just on the field, but I know you guys are getting ready to start the construction on the facilities. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, we are so excited. We start in just a couple of weeks with the construction on the new football operations center. It's going to be great for our program, great for our players, and so a lot of great things happening.
Coach Elliott talked a lot about what it meant to get some of these leaders like Brennan Armstrong and the wide receivers back this year. What did that do for this program and the fans to have those guys up back this year?
Well, it was inspirational to our fans and our supporters, because it's the message is these guys love the University of Virginia and they love this program, and they want it to come back to help us continue to elevate the program. So whenever you have leaders like that could have gone to the NFL to come back, it's promising for the future.
The future is here, and I know other spring sports that we have going on right now. Baseball, there's a game, 1 o'clock. You've got to feel good just about athletics as a whole here at Virginia.
We're having a great spring. I mean, we got a lot of teams ranked in the top 15, top 10. Baseball, softball today. We've got a track meet today, and then this spring game. So it's pretty busy.
Carla, well, we appreciate the time and looking forward to seeing everything that you guys are doing here at Virginia.
All right, thank you.
Wes and Roddy.
Kelsey, thank you. Thanks to Carla Williams as well. Here is a 4th down play, and the defense, who made a terrific stop on 3rd and short. Jameer Carter, the junior from Severn, Maryland, at 319 pounds, shut down the B gap there.
Yeah. Talking about a guy there at nose tackle, started a lot of games for Virginia a year ago. Showing the quickness to win across face on the slant and get in the backfield. Make a nice play behind the line. You know, with Tony Elliott coming in, there's also obviously new coaching staff as well. And John Rudzinski comes over on that defense from Air Force.
Right.
We had one of the best defenses in the Mountain West, one of the best defenses in the country, for being honest. And it's really predicated on those defensive linemen being very active up front. And Jameer Carter, I mean, he's got a chance to have a really nice year at that nose tackle spot.
Blue's going to take over at its 44. This will be their best starting position of the day. And here is Armstrong. And this is Foston trying to get going on the right side. And he'll get a yard or two before Andrew Williams makes the tackle. By the way, Carla Williams was not kidding about things going on here. Roddy and I late yesterday afternoon dropped by the baseball field. And on the way, we saw one of the largest track meets in the eastern United States taking place. Softball team was playing at home. I mean, it was just an amazing complex of athletics going on here at the University of Virginia. There's another throwing catch to Mish, the tight end. He'll break the 50 and down the far side. Taken out of bounds by Anthony Johnson, right around the 38-yard line of the white team.
You've seen the different ways they've used Grant Mish. He was out wide catching a pass. You saw him catch one over the middle from that H-back position. This time he slips out into the flat. Just gets a little dump pass from Brennan Armstrong. And like I said, Grant Mish, he's a really good player and just kind of got stuck behind Jelani Woods and just all of the players that they had pass catching wise. But Grant Mish is another one who, watch out, he's going to have a good year. Armstrong loads and tries to shoot it here to the near side and deflected and intercepted. Jalen Baker with the pick. Deflected by Antonio Clary, and Jalen Baker comes up with the first interception and turnover of the ball game. Was really made by Antonio Clary. Brennan Armstrong's trying to make the long throw to the opposite sideline. Clary underneath gets his hands on it, and Baker's able to finish the play. Nice play by that defense. And this is a defense that struggled a year ago, to say the least. Yep. Just had 12 interceptions, Roddy. Yeah. So, well, the thing is, they don't have to, with the offense and the way that they're going to be, the defense doesn't have to be great. You got to be pretty good on defense and then force turnovers. Able to do that there. A timeout is taken here as the white team will take over at its 40. And we'll step aside as well after the Baker interception. Still blue 3, white nothing in Charlottesville, the Virginia spring game. Roddy, you just mentioned this. Tony Elliott was very particular about becoming a head coach, and he was very particular about the staff he put together too. He certainly was. And look, this is a staff where he's had connections to just about everybody on it, and he's gotten some really big names. I mean, you look at a guy like Chris Slade, a Virginia legend coming back home. A couple of guys he kept. Getting John Rudzinski from Air Force was a big get for him. So it looks to be like it's a very, very excellent staff that he's put together. Yeah, Lavelle Davis a catch on the perimeter, but lost 3 on the play. And there's John Rudzinski, kind of going over his notes. It's fun to catch up with this week. Yeah, just the excitement that he had and the opportunity that he sees with this defense. Kelsey?
Well, guys, you're talking about the coaches, and Roddy, I heard you mention Coach Slade. Now, just the legend. That was a
Sackett Wood got flipped over there.
Yeah. But Coach Slade said one of the things that really stuck out to him, outside of just the background that he has with Coach Elliott, is that when he thought about taking this job, Coach called him to ask if he would be a good fit here. And he just said the humility that Coach Elliott has. Obviously, everybody here thinks that he's a great fit, and you guys talked about how he waited around for an opportunity like this and was really also careful about who was bringing on this staff.
Sackett Wood, another catch after Fentrell Cypress flipped him a moment ago. That time, Aiden Ryan, the collide with Sackett Wood. Look at Cypress go low, Roddy. He's actually fortunate that he got a little assist from Lex Long on the back end, kind of softened the blow a little bit. Yep. I don't know if I'd be jumping in a spring game. That takes a lot. It takes a lot to jump in the spring game. 3 catches, 46 yards for Wood. Tight ends have been the short order. There's a whistled sack. And that was Deshaun Perry again peeling through to make the play. Nice play by Perry, 41 in the blue. You know, Kelsey, here's the other thing, too, and Roddy and I ironically ran into Chris Slade last night here in Charlottesville. Just happened to pass him when we were getting a meal last night. And he just talked about how honest it's been, right, Roddy? And how just like, yeah, he's a legend at Virginia as a player and a terrific NFL player. But the thing about it is you just feel the connectivity that Tony Elliott brought here. And he talked about that. And then, Roddy, it's not just the coaching staff. It feels like the players have talked about connectivity. Staff talks about connectivity with what Tony Elliott's brought here. And that's going to count for something as you build this program.
Well, you heard Carla Williams just a second ago with Kelsey talk about the excitement that there is around the program. And not that this program wasn't on solid footing with Bronco Mendenhall, but there is a different energy. Tony Elliott is a guy that comes from, obviously, Clemson. And what is Clemson all about? It's about family. It's about community. We're all in. Everybody's a part of this thing. Yep. And you could feel that on the field today. They had fans and young ones out on the field kind of greeting the players during pregame. It's going to be inclusive.
There is another catch by Wood, and he got jarred loose. It'll be ruled incomplete, and a big hit by Ryan. Boy, the safety from Fredericksburg, Aiden Ryan, has made a couple big hits in this series, but that was the biggest.
He absolutely has. And look, we talk a lot about, especially during the season, targeting. That's how you separate a guy from the ball without targeting. He did an excellent job of just breaking up the pass.
Brendan Farrell's going to try a 50-yarder here. So Farrell's going to try and put the white on the board here. Jared Raymond will hold. And the kick is away, and it cuts back and hits the right upright. He got it to draw, and then it collides with the right upright, so the 50-yard field goal is no good. And the Blue will get the ball back.
I know we're playing real football here, and you know, you shouldn't count that for anything, but I feel like in the spring game, that should count for like 2 points at least.
Stop it.
It's harder than putting it through them.
Stop.
Hitting the upright, it's more difficult. It's a smaller target.
All right. We're going to pause for more important issues here than that. Coming up Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, the night before the NFL draft, the Huddle Draft Preview, Roddy. You'll get draft expectations as well as why certain ACC players should be successful and what the fans need to know about each draftee. It's going to be a very interesting first round if you follow the ACC. Ike Ekwonu of NC State, the big left tackle, is in. If you go mock drafts, Roddy and Kelsey, anywhere from 1 to 5.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the league, Ike Ekwonu's going first round. Top 10. Jermaine Johnson's going first round. Kenny Pickett's going first round. And then you get to the back end and a guy like Zion Johnson or Andrew Booth. Those are two guys whose names you see over and over.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. I mean, those are always exciting times for those young players.
Ekwonu ticketed most prominently at 3. However, depending on Jacksonville's state of mind, because Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker have exchanged kind of the spots at 1 and 2. There's a quick throw on a perimeter, and this is Malachi Fields, who the coaches really talked about. The 6'4 sophomore from nearby Keswick, Virginia, has done a lot of nice things here in the spring. Remember Lavelle Davis, we said, coming back from the ACL. Dontavian Wicks, Keaton Thompson are known things. They are known products.
Yep.
And like we talked about Horatio Fields last week in Winston-Salem with Wake Forest, no relation, Malachi Fields has kind of stepped up to claim his spot in the depth chart. There's Hollins taking a big lick as he broke through, and that was Andrew Williams that hit him, but it is Ahmad Foston who fell forward on the carry.
Josh Ahern got in there.
Josh Ahern involved too? Yep.
Yeah, he got in there for the tackle. And hey, you were talking about the receiver room. We're not seeing Billy Kemp today.
That's right.
Who's back for another year, who will be in that slot position.
And that ball got dropped. And that was a slant for Wicks.
I like that thought process incorporated in this offense. A quick little flash fake, slinging out to Dontavian Wicks one-on-one. He's going to make that catch more times than not. But it's honestly been really fun watching 3-on-3 today. Number 3, Dontavian Wicks, and number 3, A.J. Johnson, who we called him Anthony pregame, Kelsey and I, and he said, no, you can call me A.J.
Okay, got it.
As long as you're, making sure to mention it. He's done a nice job. He's been physical. He's a big, long corner.
And now Brennan Armstrong's going to take a timeout. By the way, A.J. Johnson he's got live television expectations today.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Minute to go in the first period. And a timeout taken here. 3-0 still in favor of the Blue after Farrell missed the 50-yarder a moment ago. Well, Roddy, you mentioned the struggles of this Virginia team on defense. A.J. Johnson's going to be a big part of that. Aaron Falmouy, who we talked about earlier, 123rd in FBS in rushing defense. Allowed almost 6 yards a rush. They were 14th in the ACC there. They really kind of struggled. When you start thinking about kind of where they were 9th in the ACC in pass defense. They were 11th in the ACC, allowing almost 32 points a game.
And the big thing is they were last in the ACC in rush defense and last in the ACC in yards per carry. That's going to be the thing that they really have to improve. And a lot of it, I mean, early on last year, they got beat so much deep that I think they had to play more conservatively, which allowed teams to run the football, had to loosen up those boxes and gave up those rush yards. That's what John Rudzinski is going to be challenged with doing. How do you fix this defense to make it a little bit better? And here's what he did at Air Force. I mean, they were absolutely fantastic. They were second in the Mountain West in scoring defense, first in total defense. They were excellent last year.
Out of the timeout, Armstrong up in the pocket, slips it across. This is Wicks, and he will get the first down inside the 40 to the 39. The clock continues to move here in the final minute. Jalen Baker, who had the interception with the stop, 10-yard play.
Dontavian Wicks, the coaches really raved about how excited they were to work with him. Obviously, the stats he put up last year, 1,200 yards. I mean, you're talking about a guy that had 57 catches. But they just mentioned how strong he is in the lower half, his ability to make people miss in the open field, which we didn't see a lot last year.
Yeah, it's a whistled sack as the pocket kind of collapsed around Brennan Armstrong. Andrew Williams, Mike Green, all involved in chasing down the quarterback from Shelby, Ohio. And the quarter will take its time out, and we change ends of the field here at Scott Stadium. Blue 3, white nothing on ACC Network.
I need to put them in a uniform.
All right, second quarter begins here in Charlottesville. 3-0 Blue. Roddy and Tony Elliott wired and ready to go.
He absolutely is. Coach, appreciate you doing this. It's been tough to get in the end zone. What have you seen so far?
I've seen some big plays. Then I've seen the defense rise up and make a couple of TFLs, couple of sacks, and some drop big plays. Seems like nobody wants to get in that end zone, like they're scared or something.
Coach, I've looked over at you a couple times. You got a smile on your face. I know you're running back and forth between the sidelines. What's it been like kind of taking it in so far?
Oh, man, it's been fun. It's been fun being able to coach and then watch and, seeing guys like Ben Smiley was a guy that I was hoping to see make a play. He makes a play. Aaron Falmouy showing up. Brendan's made a couple good throws, did have the one interception. It's good to see the tight ends, get involved.
It sounds like, though, the offensive coordinator might be a little frustrated as the head coach right now.
Well, he's got a little more pressure on him. I'm just out here kind of directing traffic. He's actually got to figure out a way with a makeshift offensive line to put points on the board.
Well, Tony, you got to be pleased though with what you've seen so far, just from a personnel standpoint too, right?
Right. Guys making plays. The guys that I thought would make plays. It's competitive. Obviously, with the teams being separated, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
But it's been good to just see some success on both sides of the ball, and then a little bit of failure too. So I got some notes to be able to challenge these guys at halftime.
There you go. Coach, when you go into halftime, or what's it been like with the game day atmosphere, the address to the team, the walk-in, all of that stuff? How has that met your expectations of what you thought it was going to be like?
To be honest with you, the Wahoo Walk, exceeded. I thought that the families would really get engaged, but man, they were lined up. They created some good energy as we walked in. Saw a bunch of smiles on the faces of the guys, so it created the right atmosphere. We come into the stadium, kids are running around, so that piece has been really, really good. And so far, it's been competitive. It's been back and forth. As a head coach, I want both sides to have success. I know one team is trying to beat the other, but for me, I'm looking for the big picture things, and for the most part, I'm seeing those things.
Coach, we felt the atmosphere when we first got here, and we've been talking about it a little bit throughout this first quarter, and I know you see it too. What was it like for you in that locker room before you guys came out here for the first time?
You know, to be honest with you, this was the first time that I realized that I'm actually the head coach, you know. Behind the scenes, I've been doing a lot in the offices and meeting people one-on-one, but now, you know, I had to lead a team out here and make sure everybody's dressed right and depth charts are good and everybody went to pregame. So no, but it's been good. And then the address really was like I said, the core values. We had a good team meeting before we got over here, so I kept it brief and let the white team and the blue team separate and have their final thoughts.
You know, Coach, it's interesting. A lot of people don't think about just the sheer simple organizational pieces of this, do they, when
Correct.
you take over a program?
Man, it's from A to Z, and at the end of the day, my name's on everything. I do have to empower my staff to I hear you, Aaron. You got him. Hey, Aaron, you got about 4 more plays, so you better use them wisely.
Aaron Falmouth almost got Brennan Armstrong. We got Brennan Armstrong in a game, right, Tony?
Oh, no doubt. But going back to the details, yes, it's from A to Z. Every minute of today has been accounted for, and it's just, you know, first time everybody going through it. So I've been pleased so far with the organization, the structure, the discipline that we've displayed so far.
Coach, I want to dig in on some players. Who are some guys that have really stood out to you in your first spring practice as guys that have really improved?
So you just saw Aaron Famui. I knew he was a good player, but from the time that I got here to where he is now, he's really stepping into his role as a leader. Ben Smiley's another one, number 10, is a guy that's really improved. Jameer Carter on the D-line. I tell you, Leach right here, my right tackle, has really improved. Brennan's gotten better on some of the little things that we've asked him to do. Obviously, a new offense, 77, and my tight ends. All my tight ends have improved since I got here, and actually they're leading the day in terms of receiving.
Coach, let's talk a little bit more about Leach. I mean, because he's your experienced guy with 2 whole starts from past.
Don't remind me.
But listen, Coach, he said that, you know, normally he's looking for saying, okay, who's going to step up? And this spring he's been like, oh, guys are looking to me. What growth you've seen from him?
Oh, I've seen it because, you know, he's a guy, he doesn't give you much facial expression, so you don't know how he's feeling. So every day early on in spring practice, Leach, you can smile. It's okay, bud, you can smile. And now I don't have to cue it. You know, he's smiling, he's having fun. He's seen himself have success in practice, which has given him confidence to lead a little better for us.
We're going to watch the white team punt here. By the way, one of the things you got to do as the head coach was throw out the first pitch last night.
How about that?
Hey, now, we got video here, and I want to tell you, Roddy Jones and I respect the fact you climbed up on the bump, too, by the way.
and hey, don't leave out the fact that I blocked. Hey, I told my man Jay to back up. Don't stand in front of the plate now. Don't shortchange me.
So Tony Elliott, for the record, gets up on the bump last night at Davenport Field and threw a strike, Roddy.
That's right.
A ledge seed was thrown in there.
That's what we've been told.
And I even told him what was coming. I told him fastball. Be ready.
We got the video here now.
Oh, yeah, I love the glove motion with the fastball, the windup. Coach, you swung that thing.
Come on now.
Hey.
That was a strike. Inside. Coach, man. I mean, look. That is the best first pitch I've seen of a coach all year.
I appreciate it, man. But hey, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so look, I only get one shot, and the boys had got a big series versus North Carolina, so I wanted to set the tempo.
Yeah.
Well, I don't question your ability to set the tempo with the first pitch last night.
Yeah.
Little busted play here.
Running back went the wrong way. Come on, Faustin. Come on.
Coach, when you look at this offense, there's so much returning from a skill position standpoint, especially at receiver. What have been your impressions of guys like Dontavian Wicks, Lavelle Davis coming back, and what this receiver core can be?
Very, very talented. They're very, very talented. We just got to go to work on becoming complete players. Understand that it's about the mastery of the position. You got to be a craftsman. It's the details. We're not just trying to be a good group. We're trying to be the best group. In order to do that, you got to fully commit.
Coach, you've talked a lot about the culture that you wanted to create here, and obviously the players are a big part of that, but so is your coaching staff. You took your time, you picked the guys you wanted. How has that developed through the spring?
Oh, it's been awesome, and I tell you, confirmation came on our first official visit weekend together, because we had all been on the road recruiting in separate places and really didn't have much prep time, and then we came together, and it felt like we had been together for years. So that was just confirmation that, first and foremost, I got the right guys. They're here for the right reasons. They believe in the mission of the program, and they're committed committed to helping us build this thing to where we believe it can go.
Tony, you talked about being intentional, and we had a chance, Roddy and I did yesterday, to see Chris Slade. And I talked to Clint Senham this morning when you guys arrived here, and Marcus Hagans briefly. To have former players, not just former players, but former stars also impacts, I think, what you're building, doesn't it?
Oh, no question. And I tell you what, first and foremost, they're all outstanding men. They're outstanding fathers. They're outstanding husbands, and they got a passion that runs so deep for this place. And right now in Scott Stadium on this field, they got blood, sweat, and tears, equity. Who better to help me build this program than guys that have actually walked this campus,
for Blue.
They've been on grounds, they've lived it, they understand the tremendous amount of time that you got to put in from an academic standpoint. So it was critical for me to have those guys.
Coach, we just saw Keaton make that catch, and I know that that's a guy that you've really enjoyed seeing what he's done in the spring. What is it about his potential that has you the most excited?
You know, he's a former quarterback, so he has an unbelievable feel of the game. He's got great football instincts. He's a deceptive athlete, so you don't realize how big he is. He's 220 pounds. He's very, very smooth. He knows how to get himself open. The biggest challenge for me is that, hey, let's go put some detail to it. Let's go refine it, because he's going to need that at the next level.
Well, I tell you what, it's been awesome to watch you start this process. Those of us that knew you at Clemson and got to know you, there you go.
Got to make a miss, Coach.
Got to make a miss,
It's
Coach.
the one-on-one in the hole that you were just talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Tony, thank you for the time. We look forward to spending the rest of the afternoon watching your team here.
Really, really appreciate you guys. Y'all enjoy.
Thank you. Tony Elliott, the first-year head coach of the Cavaliers.
You know, you could hear the old running back coach, the old offensive coordinator.
Yes, you can.
The grown men. And look, before we came on in the break, he was talking about there's some opportunities out here for the running backs, one-on-one. That one, Antonio Cleary comes down from the secondary, one-on-one in the hole, running back. You got to make a miss there. Coach, my old running backs coach used to always tell me, hey, we can only block so many. Guy coming from the secondary, that one's yours. Got to have some for him.
Ahmad Faustin runs right into Chico Bennett there, but it's a pretty good collision at about the 17-yard line. Kelsey, I know you spent a bunch of time with Clemson the last year or so. It's interesting to watch the parallels, yes, but also the uniqueness of what he's doing as a first-time head coach, I think.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that he obviously takes from being there for over a decade. And you know, one of the things that really resonated with me when we talked to him this week was him talking about the culture and then the humility that he wants to create here, because he says that that's a big piece of it. It's for him getting guys to buy into something that's bigger than themselves. And I know we've heard that from Dabo Swinney in the past, and that's something that, you know, he does take away here. But he also told us, you know, this is different. This was the right program for the right reason for him, and there's a lot that he takes away from coaching under Coach Swinney and from being at Clemson for so long, but he's also going to do this his way. And guys, I feel like we've already seen little pieces of that so far, just in the way, even that they're handling this. I mean, the atmosphere out here has been a ton of fun, and I think that that's something that, you know, he really wants to instill in these players. Hey, play for each other and bring out the best in each other, and then you get the best out of yourselves.
And the humility piece of it doesn't stop with the football team. If you look at the Clemson model, it permeates throughout the entire fan base. And it all feels like a family, from the fans to people who are working behind the scenes to obviously the team. And that, I think, is something that the Virginia faithful, people who are looking forward to seeing the Tony Elliott era, that's what I think they're going to love about what he's going to bring to the table.
Yep, you can feel the bonding, and some of that bonding, Roddy, occurred, but within the walls of the team when Bronco Mendenhall was head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Bronco Mendenhall. I don't think you can talk about what Tony Elliott's building here without talking about the foundation. You are exactly right. Within the walls of the team, absolutely, that was exactly what Bronco Mendenhall built. I think what Tony Elliott's going to do is broaden that tent, bring everybody in to get that buy-in in the program.
So a timeout has been taken here, and we're going to take a break with them. 3-0, the Blue leads, and scoring opportunity again for the Blue when we come back after this on ACC. Well, we welcome you back to Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. The Blue team leading 3-0, has the ball. It's 4th and 4, and Brennan Armstrong's on the field with Ahmad Faustin, and they're going for this, Roddy.
I love it. Keaton Thompson at the bottom of your screen, singled up.
See two guys at the top, and Armstrong to throw. And that is Thompson, and he will fall inside the 10 toward the 7, and that's first and goal.
You know, that is, Keaton Thompson is so good at operating in the middle of the field. I mean, last year when he was in the slot, just has such a good feel, and you heard Coach Elliott talk about it earlier. Incredible football IQ. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that he started as a quarterback, right? He's coming off the field a little banged up. Dontavian Wicks is a little banged up too, came off the field a little gimpy, but I think Keaton Thompson in the middle of the field, that's where he's at his best.
10th play of the drive, and this is Foston breaking tackles, and I think he cracked the 3-yard line going to the left side, so second and goal from just inside the 3 for Foston. 6 feet, 217 pounds from Milledgeville, Georgia, redshirted a season ago after 46 touchdowns as a junior and 2,700 rushing yards.
That's pretty good.
Yep.
He's gotten a lot of reps this spring because of the thin running back room. Really improved.
Here is Foston, and he'll bounce in for the touchdown for the blue team. So a 12-play drive that started just beyond midfield results in a blue touchdown with 7 minutes to play first half.
It's a really good job by the left side of that offensive line, sort of caving it down, and then a good feel by Foston. See that backside defensive end is going to be unblocked. It's Mike Green, the bandit. So as a running back, you want to hug that offensive line as much as you can, getting through that hole. It's a nice job by Foston.
Yeah, Noah Josie wearing 77 on that left side also helped him. And the point after by Farrell is good. So 10-0 the Blue as we've worked beyond the midway point of quarter number 2. Don't forget now, coming up this week, every game of the ACC's Women's Lacrosse Championship starts on Wednesday afternoon, 2 o'clock. Right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Quarterfinals next Friday. The semis are Sunday. And the championship game is Saturday, May 7th, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. This year they'll be on the campus of Notre Dame in South Bend for the Women's Lacrosse Championship and the ACC.
There you go. Had a chance to catch up with Virginia great Dana Boyle.
The Virginia legend Dana Boyle is here.
For the game.
Yeah.
Very excited about the tournament. He's telling us all about how just how good the league has been in lacrosse this year.
Oh, man.
On the women's side in particular.
Top 5 game the other night with Duke and Carolina.
Yeah, well, didn't quite live up to the billing. Carolina kind of took that one, but should be a fun tournament.
A lot of good lacrosse, both men and women, coming up for you here in the next week or so. Championships, by the way, being determined this weekend in both men's and women's tennis and golf as well.
You are tuned into the golf side of things.
Devin Chandler waits on Farrell's kick.
Locked in.
I am guilty as charged.
Locked in.
And Chandler going to bring it out of there and slip down about the 12.5-yard line. So that's where the white team will get going. And you see kind of the mix and match here. That's Ty Furnish wearing 51, who comes off the field for the white team a moment ago. And so you see some of the guys are wearing the white pennies, if you will, over the top there. There's a good look. That's Furnish. And you see also coming out is Justice Johnson. That's another young guy who did not play a season ago and only played 1 game in 20. 6'3", 330 from the Washington, D.C. area. Here's Armstrong. Quick throw on the perimeter and the catch made by Starling, the junior from Nashville.
And that play was a good example of the things you can do when you have an experienced quarterback like Brennan Armstrong. And that play is a zone run to the other side. He just raises up and throws it based on leverage. You're able to get a really easy 5 yards. Some of the evolution of this offense run by Des Kitchings.
All right. Here is a second down. And it is ruled a first down to the 24-yard line on the catch by Starling. And Kelsey, I feel like we need to get this interview done now so that we can meet the eligibility requirements of A.J. Johnson being on live television.
That's right. AJ, we promised you we were going to get you in before 6 because we heard this is our personality guy and one of the leaders of this team. What's it been like to get out here for the first time with these guys?
It's just so fun to be out here. It's exciting with the new culture and everything that we established here. Seeing the fans and doing the Wahoo Walk, it was a great experience, man. We've been working hard all spring and to come out here and have fun in this game, it's amazing.
What are the expectations for this defense this year?
Expectations, we're going to fly around. We're going to wreak havoc. We're going to take the ball away. We're going to have fun. We're going to turn up on the sideline and dance it out, man.
How has Coach Elliott kind of embraced that mindset, especially the dance it out? Have we gotten that out of Coach Elliott yet?
He got a few dance moves. Our defensive back coach, Coach Cox, he likes to dance around a little bit. But he wants us to play with controlled aggression. And when we make plays, to have fun and, cheer each other on. So he's definitely embraced it.
What have you seen from Brennan this offseason as he wanted to come back, wanted another opportunity to play here with you guys?
I just see him locked in. He's focused. He's taking over the offense, leading the receivers, leading our team. He's just a great competitor and a great guy to be around, and he's done a great job this year with the offense.
Wes and Roddy, we got AJ in just like we promised. You guys got anything else for him?
Straight out of Coconut Creek.
He's not done yet. He's just taking a little break.
Straight out of Coconut Creek. I expected nothing but excellence, Roddy. Did you?
I didn't as well.
Yeah.
So I do like the competition with that receiver group. Can you just ask him about that and how it's been on a daily basis?
Oh, wait, we got one more for you. They want to say it again, Roddy? The competition with the wide receivers?
That excellent receiver group, yeah.
Yeah, you got so many good wide receivers. What have you seen from the competition with those guys?
The competition is high every day. We're competing one-on-ones, releases, just every day to compete against each other to get better. And, we do a little smack talking, but it's all up at the end of the day, and we do a great job competing.
Not you.
Oh, no, I do all the trash talking. All the trash talking. Hey, I just want to give a shout-out to my mom, if you watching, my family, grandma, everybody. Love you guys, man. Go Hoos. We up this year.
All right.
We love it, AJ. Thank you, guys.
Live television, A.J. Johnson. Aiden Ryan, by the way, is the Cavalier, and this is the last thing anybody wants to see in a spring game.
Yeah,
is a player shaken up, and Ryan still down. They'll tend to him here. With the white team still possessing the ball, 3rd and short is the next down. But Aiden Ryan is a guy we called his name already out of Fredericksburg who did not play in a redshirt campaign a year ago. And we're going to step aside while they help Aiden Ryan, and we will come back to Charlottesville. Blue 10, white nothing at UVA. Well, you see 5 minutes to go first half. Blue 10, white nothing. John Brzezinski is the new defensive coordinator here at Virginia and kind enough to join us. And Brennan Armstrong trying to dial Sackett Wood for the first down. And Roddy, coach's defense makes the play.
Yeah, Coach. I just wanted to get your overall impressions and the installation of this defense. What have you seen from your guys this spring?
Yeah, no, it's been fun to see these guys just grow. And it's like anything when you bring new terminology, there's a huge learning curve that's part of the process. But you talk about a bunch of sharp young men that enjoy being part of the University of Virginia and have really embraced the new defense.
Coach, we just got to talk to A.J. Johnson a second ago, and having guys like him back and some of your leaders, what has that meant to this team as you guys do try and get those installations and that terminology down?
Well, as we know in college football, you've got to have great, senior and experienced leadership. Those are a few guys that have done an unbelievable job as far as buying in and helping us as coaches, get this defense put in.
Here is the return by Davies for the blue team, and Ethan Davies is breaking free to the far side. Farrell, the punter, will angle him out of bounds. It'll be a plus territory possession for the blue team. John, you spent so many years at Air Force with Troy Calhoun. It's a marvelous program, and you guys had great defensive units. What's the carryover from that experience, and kind of what similarities? You talk about, you coach great guys at that place, I know for a fact, and you've seen same type of young person here, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you just look at I tell you what, with Troy, as far as just the process, really does a great job as far as evaluating talent, and then also, too, just building systems. So you talk about processes, we really try to bring, the great processes that we had an opportunity to do it there at the Air Force Academy here at the University of Virginia, and been really fortunate that these guys have embraced that opportunity.
Coach, when you bring back a guy like Nick Jackson, a guy who had 117 tackles a year ago, Getting to work with him on the field, what impresses you most about Nick Jackson?
Yeah, well, shoot, I'll tell you what, you just see him out here right now. I mean, he's a great communicator, and I'll tell you what, you talk about having respect because he does it right in all regards. You know, be it in the classroom and here in the community, he checks all the boxes, and you know, he's that type of young man that you want to have around your children. And shoot, I'll tell you what, he's the exemplar here at the University of Virginia.
Coach, on the other side of things, you got some new faces too and guys that are trying to step up, especially because it's spring. You know, there's some injuries. What have you seen from those guys up front as others have battled through injuries to kind of step up and in that spotlight?
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about this game is the more reps that you get, what you do is you get so much growth from those reps. And so there's been a bunch of young guys that have stepped up, and you know, we're excited. I mean, guys like Sue and Famui and Carter, I tell you what, those are some guys that'll be the core of who we're going to be. If we're going to be good, we got to be good up front.
Yeah, Jameer Carter with a play early in this ball game from that standpoint. The other young guy who did not play a year ago was Chico Bennett. And John, you spoke about him to us earlier this week as a guy that could be a factor here along with Jackson in your linebacking group.
Yeah, you know, Chico, you know, coming off that that knee, he's done an unbelievable job, you know, of being kind of a Swiss Army knife, you know, being able to play multiple spots within the scheme. You know, has, you know, a bunch of physicality to him, and, you know, I'll tell you what, length. It's the length and athleticism that you look for as an edge pass rusher.
Third down here, you dialing up a blitz? What's coming?
Well, shoot, I'll tell you what, that's Carome right here. So good, bad, or indifferent. I'm putting that one on Carome.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it. One more for me, Coach. You talked a little about A.J. Johnson, but on the back end, you also returned a couple other guys. Antonio Cleary, Cohen King, we spoke about. Darius Bratton, who we're not seeing today. Seems like you've got a lot of length and athleticism on the back end. How have those guys impressed you this spring?
Yeah, you know, and again, it's the biggest thing has been as far as the different coverages that we've put in, because the system is different. But it is, I'll tell you what, it's been awesome to see these guys compete, and then also just to see them grow as young men, as they've been forced to learn some new terminology, but have embraced it every day. And I think, you know, have some really good athleticism. And now it's time for these guys, as we transition, to make sure that, you know, they get their bodies ready for that long 12-game ACC schedule. And it's you know, so we're excited.
Coach, when you talk about characteristics of your defense, what do you want to be said about the type of football that you guys play and what you get week in and week out?
Yeah, I tell you what we want to see is we just want to see consistency. You know, I'll tell you what, just look at, you know, we want to be a week in and week out. We want to be everyday guys. There's all of a sudden on Saturdays, or we get opportunity to come down to Scott Stadium, there's not going to rise to any occasion. What we've got to do is we've got to be a consistent group, and that's what they've proven so far. So I'm excited as we go forward.
And whistled sacks are always nice ways to end series, right, John?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Go. Hey, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, guys.
Okay, you bet. Brennan Armstrong takes over. Big shot to Lavelle Davis for about 7 on first down. Well, I tell you what, seeing number 1 back out there, Roddy, at 6'7". Boy, Virginia missed that guy a year ago. Now, Dontavian Wicks had a terrific year, and so do some other guys. But that guy right there is a factor.
Yeah, I mean, he is a game changer in terms of his ability to go up and high point the ball, and I think it puts Dontavian Wicks in a spot where he doesn't have to be the vertical threat. I mean, certainly he was great at that. He doesn't have to be the vertical threat. But Kelsey, I mean, it's been impressive seeing Lavelle Davis out there.
It really is, and I know fans are really excited about it. I mean, the coaches are too, and one of the things that they said, guys, is that we have to keep in mind is coming back from an ACL injury like you did. It's not just your physical body, it's a little bit of a mind game too, right? Roddy and Wes, as you try and overcome that and you get out of your head and get out of your way, they said they're really excited about seeing him continue to get his conditioning in and to get in the weight room and to continue working on his strength. But it's not just your body, it's your mind after an injury like that. And good to see him back out there and kind of working through some of those things, because, man, he's been spectacular in his first year.
Here's Josh Rawlings out of Woodland Hills, Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh area, making the catch there. He played 6 games a year ago, but I'll tell you this, that's the first third down conversion of the day. Both teams were 0 for 10 prior to that. I'll tell you the other issue we have seen in this, Grant Mish, Sackett Wood. I'll throw Josh Rawlings in there, and almost a pick. Flying through the secondary right there was Donovan Johnson on a ball intended for Tennyson. But the tight end position here. And Roddy, I know Jelani Woods was here a year ago. I know they've had Heath Miller. They've had them like, you know, factory pressed, right? I'll tell you this now, Clemson used tight ends.
Yeah, and look, Tony Elliott coached tight ends last year. Des Kitchings, the offensive coordinator, coaches the tight ends here at Virginia. Graham Mitchell's a good player. I mean, he's got some athleticism. He's seen the ability to catch the football. So, yeah, he's going to be involved.
And that time thrown offline. Intended for Chandler. It was Bracey, the linebacker, that was out in space. Cypress was in coverage.
Guys, we've been talking about the atmosphere here. We talked to Carla Williams, the athletic director, about everything that's going on here this weekend. One of the things is the baseball team, as Virginia, you know, top 10 team, is playing North Carolina right now. Just got word. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Baseball team, bottom of 10th. They were down 7-4. And they just came back and won it 11-7. Devin Ortiz grand slam, you guys, in the bottom of the 10th inning to come back and win it. So it's relevant because it's a nice day out here, and we might see more people coming over here. It's also relevant because we haven't even really gotten to dive into who caught that for Tony Elliott, Jay Woolfolk.
By the way, Kelsey, I'm now getting word that the home run is under review.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's under review, Jim. The home run is under review. Jim and I are standing here right now crossing our fingers. Jim,
Wow,
their incredible
yeah.
sports information director.
Jim Daves is like a legend. My
Devin
goodness.
Ortiz is a legend, too.
Devin Ortiz is clearly a legend.
How about Jay Woolfolk, too, you guys?
Well, Jay Woolfolk is the latest two-sport guy in the ACC, Roddy.
Right.
I mean, and the list is long, but here's the thing. He's got a chance in football, but his baseball prospects are terrific, aren't they?
Jay Woolfolk is a guy that played last year against Notre Dame, who went through some struggles in that game. That Notre Dame defense was really good, but showed promise. And look, I've covered some baseball, had a chance to watch him a little bit. He is a really good pitcher. You're talking about 95 off the bump with that kind of breaking ball.
Look at this last night.
Oh, man, just absolutely dealing. Did not give up a hit, 2 strikeouts, and an inning and 2/3 pitch. And Tony Elliott talked to us about, hey, he's one of our backup quarterbacks, yes, but right now he's doing a great job for Brian O'Connor and the baseball team. And in catching up with Coach O'Connor, I mean, his future in baseball could be really good.
All right, Kelsey, have we got clarity yet?
We have clarity, you guys. It's good. Walk-off win. Bottom of the 10th. Big win for Virginia. And, you know, these coaches haven't gotten to see a lot from Jay Woolfolk, who you guys were just talking about. When we talked to them, they're like, well, we've seen him throw a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, so that's pretty good. But how cool is it that he has the opportunity to come to a place like Virginia and play football and baseball and kind of get both of those experiences and have him embraced by his coaches and team and his teammates on both teams, really.
Yeah.
Roddy, what's the timeline on that nowadays? I mean, because baseball has, everything else has kind of come to the baseball side of the house, if you know what I mean.
Right.
From a eligibility standpoint, the clock continually runs. Remember, baseball players could transfer without sitting out prior to all this other stuff.
Right.
So in Woolfolk's situation, okay, played last year, there is an expectation he could potentially be the backup this fall, right? I mean, once that competition takes place, we're going to see the other two guys obviously here in the second half. But what's the timeline, do you think, for Jay Woolfolk? Because he is draft eligible next year, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on his age. I don't know what his age is because he's a freshman now. He could be a draft-eligible sophomore depending on age. But what it looks like for him in terms of the near term, you know, once the Virginia baseball team's run is done, he'll immediately transition to football, and you have to start learning the playbook. And so, yeah, he's going to be behind in terms of winning that backup job as the quarterback. We'll see some of the other guys, as you mentioned. But he was behind in baseball, too, after spending the whole time in the fall with the football team and then going to baseball, and you see he's one of the best relief pitchers in the league, especially as a freshman. So he is a talented enough athlete to get it done. But we'll see. It's going to be hard to come in and learn a new offense, not have those reps, and then get caught up to speed in camp.
Yep. So Farrell going to punt it one more time here to Starling. And there is Starling on the catch at the 32, and he will work to the 38, and that's where the blue team makes the tackle. 43-yard punt and a return right of about 10 yards. for Demick Starling. And with 19 seconds left, maybe 1 or 2 snaps before halftime here. There will be a halftime. It's scheduled for 15 minutes, but we'll see how that goes. And then the second half here in Charlottesville, and we will be with you until 6 o'clock. And at that point, we're going to send, we'll finish the blue and white game on the ACC NX app. But the rest of you on ACC Network will go off to Fenway Park to see Boston College and Virginia Tech tonight.
What a cool environment.
Yeah, and the Pete Frates game at Fenway tonight with Mike Monaco and Mike Rooney and Danny Wexelman. And there is the carry for Hollins. And I think that will do that for the half.
And this will be the last we see of Brennan Armstrong, West, just really quickly. And he did have the interception, put the ball in danger a couple of times. But I think you saw the stuff that makes Brennan Armstrong special. The arm strength, the mobility. And this is an offense that's a work in progress right now. But that likely the last we see of Brennan Armstrong as he jogs off with Des Kitchens.
Yep. Touchdown on the ground for Fosston, a field goal for Farrell. Armstrong quarterbacks both sides of the ball in his half of work here. Stay tuned. More to come from Charlottesville. We're at the half, and the Blue leads 10-0 on ACC Network. ACC Network coverage of the Virginia Spring Game continues from Charlottesville, and we're at the half. The Blue 10 and the White 0. With Roddy Jones, Kelsey Riggs, Wes Durham, we welcome you back upstairs here at Scott Stadium. Look, we can get all the newness out of the way here, right? We saw Tony Elliott's team, both sides here. John Rosinski's defense, Des Kitchens, what they're trying to do offensively. And we got to see Brennan Armstrong come back in this first half.
You got to see a lot of Brennan Armstrong. He quarterbacked both teams and more efficient with the blue team as expected. Those older guys, the guys that he's more accustomed to seeing, put the ball in danger a couple times. Those are going to be coaching things that they get cleaned up. But the biggest thing is you got out, especially with Brennan Armstrong healthy. And look, you saw the things that make Brennan Armstrong special. His ability to create outside the pocket, delivering the ball down the field. Didn't see a lot of running from him, which is to be expected with him being in an orange jersey. But all in all, I'd say it's a good day for Brennan Armstrong.
All right. Of note, though, last year Jelani Woods became like a unicorn in the ACC, right, for his play, especially in the red zone. Well, in this first half, Virginia started to work tight ends again. Grant Mish, a big part of it, Roddy.
It was early on. Grant Mish was a big part of this offense a year ago, mostly in a blocking role, but a couple of big catches early. Saw the one on the outside. He was actually lined up wide on that one. And the one down the middle, he's kind of an H-back position. That time he slides across the formation out to the flat. Little dump pass, but he wasn't the only one involved. You had Sackett Wood get involved as well. Little ill-advised on the jump. I wouldn't necessarily go there, but Sackett Wood worked in the middle of the field too. But the touchdown, Wes, was a rushing touchdown. They threw the ball a ton during that first half, which is kind of to be expected with what they've got going on in the offensive line. But a little rushing touchdown action.
Ahmad Foster, by the way, the score from about 3 yards out, and it's 10-0 here at halftime. When we come back, Andrea Adelson had a chance to visit with Tony Elliott prior to today's spring game. You'll see that feature when we continue from Charlottesville on ACC Network. Welcome back to Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. Our Spring Football Saturday continues on ACC Network at Virginia. And Andrea Adelson had a chance to sit down recently with Coach Tony Elliott and discuss how he ended up at Virginia and the state of the program.
So so when you enter the 9th grade, how tall were you? 6'8". 6'8". Coming out of 8th grade, you were 6'8". Oh my God! Now, how coordinated were you?
I was pretty coordinated. I grew 3 or 4 inches every year, so it was like a big adjustment.
Big adjustment, huh? Well, technically, like, this is the house that you built. Like this is the. I know it's right, but this is still part of it. So you make yourself at home. You go wherever you want to go. All right. I'll be back in a little bit. Hey, let's go. Be intentional. Be intentional what you're doing now. Let's go. It's a perfect opportunity just to work on those little things, right? Uh-oh. Got a few more troops in the infantry. Welcome back, Charlie.
Why is Virginia the right place for you?
Oh, there's several reasons. Virginia wasn't a school that was on the radar because nobody knew that Coach Mendenhall was going to step down. So it wasn't one I was targeting, but it fit the profile. I wanted education first. I wanted an administration that believed in me for who I was, and not just a guy coming from Clemson and all the success, but they understood who Tony Elliott was. An opportunity to build my own program the way that I wanted to build it.
Why was it important to you to wait for the right opportunity?
Because it's lives at stake. You become a head coach, you're essentially a CEO, and you have 50 plus families, and then you have 120 players that are impacted by the decisions that you make. So it's not just a job. I believe it's a calling. It's today that you show up every play. I see some flashes. I just need to see it every play, man. Hey, don't be afraid to be great. It's actually pretty cool when your name's on the front page of the paper and not in the back. You ever seen 5 Heartbeats? You ever seen 5 Heartbeats? So how you gonna be a singer and never seen 5 Heartbeats?
Virginia is a different place than Clemson, so how have you had to adapt so far in your time here?
The biggest difference is right now, just from a resource standpoint, I'm actually excited about the opportunity because there is a commitment to upgrade the facilities, and we have some time to really lay the foundation and to establish an environment that's going to be grateful and appreciative of the things that are coming down the pipeline. There probably won't be a slide. I'm fun, but my personality is different than Coach Sweeney's, and also too, I want to make it unique to the University of Virginia. I want to go here, and I want to push him down, okay? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to eliminate his helmet, right, from getting to my legs. Is when he comes in, boom, I clear my hips, AKA the Heisman Trophy pose, right? So it's actually pretty useful, right? It's not just a statue.
You have one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks coming back in the ACC and Brennan Armstrong. How much of an advantage does it give you in your first year?
I feel like a huge advantage because it's going to make me right. As a first-time head coach with not a ton of experience, I got a veteran quarterback that can cover up some mistakes. Got it. Oh! Fine. Your body language has to stay positive. Yeah. They feed off of you. Let's go now. Come on. We got a proven veteran guy with a ton of experience and something that he came back to prove. Let's go. Get set.
Where have you seen the most progress with the entire team so far?
Just the buy-in, and I think that they want to get to a championship level. Just a commitment to the little things, because from my experience, the little things lead to the big things.
That's Andrea Adelson with Tony Elliott. Roddy Jones and I will come back. We're getting closer to the second half from Charlottesville of this spring Saturday football when we continue in a moment on ACC. Now we're getting ready for the second half of the Virginia blue and white game here at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. Great to be with Roddy Jones, Kelsey Riggs, Wes Durham, back on our coverage here on ACC Network. We will stay with you until 6 o'clock on ACC Network before we send you to Boston for BC Virginia Tech and ACC baseball. Roddy, here's a look at the 2022 schedule. And take the front end all you want. Richmond here, at Illinois, Old Dominion. In the first 3 weeks before you see the ACC at Syracuse on a Friday night. You have highlighted the last 5 here.
Yeah, because I actually think it sets up pretty well for Virginia, but that last 5 games, that's a brutal stretch. Talking about really the 3 teams that are probably going to be picked to finish at the top of the Coastal, Pitt, Miami, Carolina. You get them all at home, but you get them all together. Then you get Coastal Carolina, who, by the way, is getting Grayson McCall back. That's a tough offense to prepare for. And then going to Virginia Tech. It's a tough back stretch. However, I think on the front side, if you've got to figure out things, Tony Elliott should be able to do it as you go through. Not to say Syracuse at Duke, Louisville at Georgia Tech is an easy stretch by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not as tough as it gets from the end of October on.
Yeah, so there's a look at the 2022 Virginia schedule. The Cavaliers' offensive coordinator is Des Kitchings, and he joins us from the field here as we get ready to start the second half here. Des, the first 30 minutes. Oh, nope. We will talk to Coach Kitchings in a moment. We'll take a break, and we'll come back and talk to Des as the second half of this blue-white game gets underway in Charlottesville next.
Welcome back out to Scott Stadium. Kelsey Riggs
You're with the star of the show, who we are excited to be talking to here at Virginia. Their quarterback, Brennan Armstrong. Brennan, to be back here at Scott Stadium and have another opportunity to play with this team, what does it mean to you?
It means everything. I mean, that's exactly why I came back, just to play with these guys again. Coach Elliott's doing a great job, and you obviously see the turnout, the things that are happening for this program. Coach Elliott's really, trying to get a lot of momentum for us, and I'm just glad I get an opportunity, start his first year off, and send my last year off right.
Brennan, Roddy Jones up here in the booth, man. Excited to see you for another year. What have you seen your role as through the transition in terms of helping lead this thing into the Tony Elliott era?
Just listen to Coach Elliott, hopping on what he wants us to be as a football team and a program, building that culture, and listening to him. He's been there, done that, seen the best, has played in the best games, the biggest moments, and I'm just trying to get our whole team to buy into what he says, and just continue to grind each day. All the X's and O's out here are what they are, but Coach Elliott really emphasizes effort and toughness, and that's kind of what we're trying to show today.
Kind of fits you, doesn't it, Brennan? In some ways, the characteristics you play with.
Yeah, it does. With the orange jersey today, I really didn't get to display that too much, but that's kind of how I play. Obviously, going to be pretty smart this year with getting down, knowing when I should slide and when not to slide. But overall, I could say that's kind of part of my resume on how I play.
Brennan, you came back for a reason. So when you think about this year and what you want to accomplish, what have you really keyed in on?
I would just say wins. That's a huge thing. I've been here for 4 years now, and I wasn't the starter when we went to the Orange Bowl, and now I'm trying to build this team with myself being the quarterback, and 6-6 just isn't good enough for me, and I didn't like the feeling of that, and I just think it's just improving each day, getting our guys obviously with all the new schemes, new coaching staff, but that's besides the point. I just want to put wins on the board for this for Charlottesville and for our team.
Well, Paris Jones just went 75 yards.
I just saw that. But
I was hoping you would kind of pick up a little play-by-play call there for us, but
I heard the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. Was that kickoff? That was kickoff, right?
No, first play from scrimmage.
Oh, first play from scrimmage.
Yeah.
What up, PJ?
How's that? Are you surprised? Does that surprise you at all? We'll show you a replay. You'll see the replay upstairs in a moment on the video board, but does Paris Jones surprise you doing that, Brennan?
No, Paris Jones is one of our hardest workers on our team, man. He deserves this spotlight. We have a lot of, we're down kind of backs right now, so, this is his time to shine, and I think, shoot, you just saw what he can do right there. I'm pretty happy for him now. I'm going to have to run over there and say something to him when I get a chance.
Yeah. Well, Brennan, when we talked to the coaches this week, they mentioned you're kind of on a pro schedule, light class load. You've been around for a while. You're getting to the end of your academic tenure. What's your schedule like nowadays, and how has that allowed you to focus on football?
Yeah, no, it's I still take my 4 classes, to keep me eligible to play this game. But a lot of stuff are online, so it gives me just time to get it done, and then not having to travel and go to class on grounds or anything like that, and just timing of my classes, maybe a little bit later. So we practice, get in right in with the coaches, be up in the offensive staff room, learning. Watching film, watching our previous practices, and just continue to build this. I think obviously I'm the quarterback of this team, but I got to be in tune with everything that's going on and be on the same page as our coaches, especially Coach Kitchens. So that's building a relationship there and just building that chemistry.
Brennan, there's so much excitement about you coming back, but I know that you're also excited about some of the guys that you're going to have on the other end of those balls you're throwing this year. What have you seen from the development of some of your wide receivers?
Yeah, they're good. Obviously they're great. We've all saw that. Right now, it's just working on timing stuff, working on the little things. This offense is a little bit different than last year's. So there's a lot of small things that we're working on. Coach Elliott's talked about the depth issues and all that stuff, but this summer's going to be huge for us. Just working on the little things, like I said, timing. But overall, I think everyone's buying in, and that's obviously the biggest thing. I think overall, not besides X and O's, is just buying into what Coach Elliott's saying, and I think that's just what's going to propel us to be a better team than last year.
You set a single season passing yardage mark a year ago in the ACC at better than 400 yards a game. If I told you threw for 350, 330 this year, but you won a couple more games, I'd be willing to bet you buy all that, wouldn't you?
100%. That's all I care about. That's exactly how I want to leave. I want to be obviously better than 6-6 and put this team in the Coastal and win the Coastal and get to the ACC championship. That's always our goal each year. And with Coach Elliott and everything that's going on, I think we can do that.
Brennan, in every offseason, you put together a list of things you want to get better at. Physically and fundamentally, what did you want to get better at this offseason?
Physically, just mobility, just staying functional, being a functional quarterback. I feel like I've always been pretty strong. You know, coming into my early years, I've kept a lot of my strength, and now it's just making sure I'm still mobile and you know, feeling good after a couple of the seasons I've played already. And then just mentally, I'll just say, you know, I'm still learning about the game, and with this new offense, I'm learning still new stuff. A lot of new lingo that's being presented to us, and it's kind of an NFL style lingo. So that's always going to be a good transition for me, hopefully into the next level. But overall, yeah, just the small details of, you know, the game of football. I still have a lot to learn.
Brennan, I know you touched on it a little bit, but Coach Elliott and getting to learn from him, what's your biggest takeaway about who he is as a coach and what he expects of you guys?
He cares about us, not on this field, but outside of the field, and then also how important academics is for us. You know, everybody's time's going to end on this field, or playing football eventually. It could be, it could be any time for us. You know, you could step on this field today and it could be ended. And he preaches us about academics all the time. That's what carried him. That's what got to where made him who he is today. But yeah, that's the one thing, you know, he's on us about academics, because that's going to carry us farther than this game of football will.
Brennan, you made a name for yourself not only with your productivity, but with the edge and the toughness you play with. You told Roddy during the break you're from a small town in Ohio. Shelby, Ohio, is it bigger than this football stadium? That'd be my first question.
No, it's bigger than the football stadium, but yeah, about 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Just small town, everybody knows everybody. Love growing up there, made me who I am today. Yeah, nothing but good things for Shelby.
Okay, but here's the question. Is it the small town and the tradition and the way high school football was played in that part of Northern Ohio that makes you Brennan Armstrong?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, small town, every Friday, that was the show to come watch. We had our stadium, Scouts Field, set off apart from our actual high school, and it was the show on Friday. That's where everybody went. You know, you see a lot of fields now with their tracks around it. This field had no track around it. You had fencing right up along sidelines. You know, when you score in the end zone, this fence is 2 yards away, and you could go high five fans that are just sitting along the sideline. It was close quarters. You know, the fans were in it, and just our tradition there. You know, a lot of fans wanted to come out and support, so we always had huge crowds. And yeah, no, I look back on those memories, and I won't ever forget them.
That's awesome. I'll tell you what, it's a pleasure to have you back in this league.
Wes, I got one more for him before he goes, because we've been talking a lot of baseball in the first half because they just had a walk-off win, and we all know you know Jay Woolfolk very well. Yeah. Could you hit off of Jay Woolfolk? He used to be a baseball guy.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to be a baseball guy. hitting, I will say, hitting is difficult. At 4 years out of it now, 5 years out of it, hitting will not be. I couldn't go back in the batter's box and hit off Jay.
Hey, Armstrong,
no shot.
It's only 96 coming in there.
Yeah, there's
not
no
too
shot.
Hot, no big deal.
No shot.
But don't you? Come on, tell him, Roddy. Grab a bat, step in. Let's see it.
As a guy who took time off and then went back to college baseball, I can tell you, you're right, Brennan.
hitting is a different thing, man. That stuff is tough. Maybe some pitching. I get my arm back in some pitching shape.
There we go.
A little lefty back on the mound, but no. Other than that, no way I can hit off Jay. Jay brings the heat. Too much of it.
I tell you what, it's going to be the best quarterback league in the country again, and you're a big part of it. Thanks, Brennan.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here.
You bet. Man knows his limitations, Roddy.
Look, man, you step back in there and the first thing you see is low 90s, and then just when you get the beat on the low 90s to flip the slider in there, and you're like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Why did I choose to do this?
5 out. How about Paris Jones turning it up here in the second half, Roddy?
Yeah, there's been a lot of mid-zone run in the second half. Paris Jones, that's what he scored on. Nice little cutback, made some guys miss. Got a little shake to him and then showed the speed and the elusiveness in the open field.
State champ 4x100.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gearbox goes to the top, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Here's the other thing, too, and look, Des Kitchings is going to join us here at some point. You want to see offensive variables, and there's another good run by Jones. This staff has the Tony Elliott influence of Clemson, right?
Yep.
It has the Des Kitchings NFL, NC State, South Carolina Will Muschamp influence, right? Then you look down the line. Taylor Lamb, the quarterback's coach of this team, was the offensive coordinator at Gardner-Webb, and you say, well, wait a second. Taylor Lamb's considered one of the bright young coaching minds in the country for what he's done at the FCS level. Keith Gaither comes from Jeff Monken's staff at Army at West Point. There's no telling what these guys are going to have under the hood.
Yeah, there's not. I think the sort of through line, all of it is, hey, they're going to run the football. It's what Tony Elliott really established at Clemson. Obviously had great backs but they ran the football, which allowed them to have the special group of quarterbacks that he had, Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson in particular.
Right.
But Kelly Bryant in there as well. I mean, that was a prolific rushing offense that they had that year, Kelly Bryant being a big part of it. Des Kitchings comes with a running ability or a running system, especially his time at NC State. And we saw a lot of that, honestly. It was a lot of zone runs at NC State. So that's going to be a big part of this offense, I would guess.
15 more for Paris Jones. He's got 5 carries for 116. Mike Collins we've seen today. Ahmad Boston we've seen today. Now Paris Jones. We're not going to see Ronnie Walker, the transfer from Indiana, who had 5 carries for 32 yards last year in limited appearances behind Wayne Talapapa and others in the Virginia run game. And I mentioned that because Walker's injury, Tony Elliott telling the media the other day, Walker's injury could last into August. And if that's the case, Roddy, there's going to be time for a Paris Jones to maybe build some momentum, things of that nature, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as a change of pace guy. I mean, he's 5'8", 180, so may not be the bell cow, but we'll be right back with a little bit more on the other side of this break.
We're going to talk to you, and then we're going to talk.
Don't forget Monday night, 7 o'clock, debut edition of All Access, the ACC Life, Florida State softball, Duke track and field, and also Pittsburgh's women's lacrosse team. All on ACC Network, streaming live on the ESPN app. And as we rejoin you, Malachi Fields, a touchdown catch from Jared Raymond of 31 yards, and the blue team has opened the scoring valve up here in quarter 3, Roddy.
Well, they exploded with a big 75-yard run, then they exploded with a big pass down the field. That's something that Virginia fans are accustomed to seeing with the talent that they've had on the outside. Usually, or it has been, and it was Dontavian Wicks who gave a little dap to Malachi Fields. But Fields, 6'4", 218 pounds, and you saw the ball skills there, the ability to fade away from the defensive back, snag it, and then get in the end zone. It's a really nice job by that young man.
Finley Underwood going to try and add the point. And the blue is starting to run away with this. Underwood bites it off the right upright, so it's 23-0. That'll get us to a break.
Should be an extra point.
It's an extra point, right? Yeah, I know. When we come back, Kelsey will have another guest on the sideline.
Kelsey Riggs, Roddy Jones, and Wes Durham here with you at Scott Stadium. And I am with a guy that we've been talking about all day who just got here, Jay Woolfolk, came straight over from a baseball game, a walk-off win to this football game. And let's start with baseball. You pitched last night, you'll pitch again tomorrow, but how exciting was today?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, we were down going into the 10th inning, down 3 runs. I mean, in that situation in baseball, that kind of secures a win when you're down 3-1. But a team like us, we never give up. We don't just lay down for anybody. So I mean, we're Devin on tee with the bases loaded. Devin struggled all day with hitting, and now he comes up and hits a home run. And that's how it shows his character. He doesn't care what he did. He knows what time it is for his team.
Jay, what's it been like you balancing this and having the opportunity also to play for both of these teams and be a part of both of these programs?
I mean, the balancing wasn't even that hard. I mean, the plan that Coach Elliott came in and gave me and Coach O'Connor, I mean, it's amazing. It's kind of more easier than people think just because like all I got to do is follow them. I mean, but playing for both of these programs is amazing, especially with someone who come in like Coach Elliott and playing with Coach O'Connor. I mean, that's something that you don't get that opportunity with anybody every day. And you don't get that opportunity to play both sports, and both of your coaches are blessed with it. So I was amazed that, especially with him in the first pitch yesterday, I was definitely amazed. But he's been such a blessing to me, and I can't thank him enough for it.
Yeah, he made sure to tell us that he told you to go all the way back. He wanted to throw a real strike. When you came over, you caught up immediately with Brennan Armstrong, and you started asking for the scouting report, what you had missed so far. What are your takeaways from what he said that they've gotten out of this game today?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I always want to know like what's going on, how he did. I mean, because he's our starting quarterback. I want to make sure he's okay. I want to make sure how the offense is looking for this upcoming year. I mean, it's a big year especially for UVA program, And I'm kind of a nosy person. I just want to know what happened when I was gone.
Jay, we appreciate the time, and I know you want to go talk to the rest of the guys, so I'm going to let you go. Guys, I've got somebody else here with me, though, because the second thing he asked was, wait, what's going on with KT? Is he okay? So we've got Keaton Thompson here with us now, and that is the first question. Obviously, never want to see anybody go down, but you told us you're okay. How you feeling? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Just, kind of got rolled up on, sprained my ankle, but, it's a beautiful day out here. I can't complain. Good to see the guys compete. I'm just happy to be here.
Keaton, you're a guy that was moved all over the field last year. The coaches have told us they've kind of established you more in the slot. What has that allowed you to do? How has that allowed you to grow from a fundamental standpoint of being a receiver?
Oh, man, it's been really big, just being able to hone in and focus on, being a true receiver and being dominant at that position. It's fun doing all of the gadget positions, and switching to running back and quarterback. But, I feel like, a lot of those things come naturally. One of the biggest things I'm trying to work on and improve right now is just, becoming a complete receiver. And I think, this spring and, being dominantly in the slot has allowed me to do that.
Keaton, I can't help but think about your college journey and all the variances you've had. And now here you are in your last year, and you're playing for a guy that's as accomplished as Tony, and yet playing for a coaching staff that's also got as much experience offensively as this one does.
Oh, man, yeah, it's great. It's great. And like as you mentioned, I've been around a lot of different coaching staffs, over my college career. At State, we had a lot of turnover as well. And, man, Coach Elliott is great. And I think what he's doing with the program and, how he's come in and established the culture, I think we're going to be really special. We have to continue to build on it throughout the summer. Of course, when the coaches are away. But, I think we're going to be really special this upcoming season.
Just saw Starling come up with that catch. I know you guys have a loaded wide receiver room. What's it been like being a part of this group this year?
Oh, man, it's been great. Just every day you come in to compete and work with your brothers. We want to be the best. We want to be the best group in the country. And, every day that's what we come out and strive to do. So even, Demeek's on the white team, to see him make a big play, it brings joy to my heart, man. And, I want to see all the wideouts do very well.
KT, I know you guys compete on the field. You're brothers, but you compete off the field, too. We had a chance to catch up last year at Media Day, and you said you're a pretty good hooper. Who's the best basketball player on the team?
Here we go.
Hey, it's no debate. You might need to ask. You can ask anyone out here. Ask anyone in the stadium who's the best basketball player on the team. They'll tell you. It's KT hands down with the sprained ankle. I'm the best. I'm currently still the best basketball player on the team with the sprained ankle.
Thompson, here's the deal. Look, we had AJ on here earlier. I would love to know what it's like when AJ lines up opposite you, and you line up opposite him.
And it's crazy because, AJ plays outside. I'm usually in the slot. So when we do line up against each other, man, it's always a battle. And we know we don't get that many opportunities to line up against each other. And me and AJ have a really special relationship, man. We compete like crazy in the weight room. Sometimes we go to the field by ourselves and, just get routes. No quarterback, just us two. And, AJ's been really big. He's been, one of the guys on defense really pushing me, to become my best, man. And, we compete a lot. I love that guy.
Keaton, I know somebody else you're developing a really special relationship is Coach Elliott. When we talked to him in meetings this week, he said, look, Keaton's a guy that I'm really pushing because I really believe in his potential. What can you tell us about what you've learned from him?
I've learned a great deal from him, man, and he's been around a lot of great receivers. He's been around first rounders, and, he has a lot to offer. And, yes, as you mentioned, he has been on me, especially at the beginning of spring. He was on me pretty rough, in the beginning of spring, and then I kind of, started to realize why, and, we had a conversation, and, man, I've just been, trying to, listen to what he tells me, and just be a better player each and every day.
Guys, I like the smile when he says that as well. Wow. We've got to let KT go, but we really appreciate the time.
Stay healthy, man.
We'll get back up to you.
We'll try, man. Thank you, guys.
All right, appreciate it. Missed field goal by Farrell, by the way, so the Blues still with a commanding lead here and the football. And we're into quarter four, by the way, Roddy.
Yep.
Just rolled right into quarter four. And a reminder to you, in about 5 minutes, we'll send our ACC Network audience off to Fenway Park for one of the special weekends in all of college sports, the ALS Awareness Weekend, the Pete Brady's game tonight at Fenway Park with Boston College and Virginia Tech. And Mike Monaco will be there with Mike Rooney and Danny Wuxelman for the coverage at the Fens. They're expecting a beautiful night in Boston and a nice crowd at Fenway Park. What a treat for Boy, tell you what now, John Sheff's got a pretty good baseball team, Ronnie. They'll have a good time tonight in Boston. Mike Gambino's squad, tough night last night. BC the win. We'll see what happens tonight when we send you the Fins at 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, we're watching Jared Raymond at quarterback. And his best play so far in this second half has been handing it to Paris Jones.
I think you've seen some things from both of these backups. Jared Raymond, Davis Lane, they both kind of showed some ability here, throwing nice deep balls, giving the receivers a chance. We saw Lane with a long completion to Demick Starling a little bit ago.
Yep.
Jared Raymond had a nice completion earlier to Malachi Fields that went for a touchdown. So, look, these guys can sling it a little bit. We haven't seen either one of those guys, so I was curious, how would they throw the ball? How does the ball look coming out of their hand? Looks pretty good. So, the backup job, Jay Wolflick's going to have an opportunity to compete for it, but those two guys have looked pretty decent so far.
Yeah. A reminder to you that if you're with us here on ACC Network, we're going to finish up the spring blue-white game from Charlottesville. We will do it over on ACCNX. We only got about a running clock of about 8.5 to go. So,
I thought you were going to go full on ESPN app, one tap.
I could. You can pick it up on the app at ACCNX for sure. And there's another good run by Jones for a first down. Ronnie Walker, we told you, is probably into August before he's able to come back. And I'd say Mike Hollins, Mott Foston, I wouldn't have any problem plugging Paris Jones in there. And they've got a freshman, Xavier Brown from Lexington Christian, coming in, who's the Kentucky Gatorade Player of the Year in the Commonwealth, Roddy.
Yeah, and I think overall, what you saw from this Virginia team was good work on both sides. The offensive line, those guys battled all day long. And I think the defensive line got the better of them when it was ones-on-ones for the most part, but that's a group that's going to have to continue to grow. Otherwise, we didn't see a lot from Dontavian Wicks, went out a little banged up. But this offense is going to be really good. They're going to get Billy Kemp back. Lavelle Davis is going to get more comfortable. And I saw some encouraging signs from that defense. The ability to tackle. They're long and athletic on the back end. And then defensive line-wise, we saw some guys make some plays.
Yep, I agree with you on that. And a second down coming up here as we kind of roll through the last 7.5 minutes in Charlottesville. Raymond here on the 2nd and 10 will tuck and run, and Cohen King will tag him at midfield. And we send you off to Boston. Great to be with Roddy Jones and Kelsey Riggs. Wes Durham, thanks to our great crew here in Charlottesville. Now to Fenway Park and